Alrighty, so as you guys know, we have been looking at different weather patterns inside of the climate regions across the United States. So what is weather like in the fall, winter, spring, and summer for each of the climate regions? Yesterday, we took a look at desert regions. Today, we're going to take a look at temperate regions, okay? Our goal is the same as it was yesterday. We will obtain, which means collect or gather, and combine, which means put together. So we're going to obtain and combine information to determine seasonal weather patterns across the different regions of the United States. And today we're going to focus specifically on the Arctic region, okay? So looking at the Arctic region, this is going to work the same structure as yesterday. We're going to click on that add response, and then you're going to go with a partner to read a text and answer questions. So if you would please go to your Seesaw now, click on that activities light bulb, and add a response to weather patterns in the Arctic region. Okay. Our directions are to read the questions and text on slides 2 through 6. You're going to answer the questions in a complete sentence. You are going to highlight evidence in the text. Okay? So just like yesterday, you're going to read the text, and up top will be a question for you. You and your partner will look for evidence in the text, highlight it, and then type your answer in a complete sentence for slides 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay? This is what you're going to complete with a partner in breakout rooms. Then we will come back together like we did yesterday and talk about some weather graphing. Okay? First things first, you're going to get with a partner and complete slides 2 through 6. Okay, so you have just come back from your breakout room working with your partners. Let's quickly review what it is that you just learned. Again, taking time to focus on the text features, you can see we have nice helpful materials like this checklist. This shows us an overview of what the seasons in the tundra are like. There are long, dark winters. There are long, bright summer days. There are very cold temperatures year-round, not just in the winter. There is little snow or rain. There is underground ice that never thaws. And there are flat landforms, okay? Slide 3 asked you what you will experience in the tundra during the fall season. These are example answers. You and your partner may have found something else to focus on, and that is fine as long as it came from the text. In the tundra in the fall, you will experience the first freeze and a rainbow of colorful plants. How does tundra weather change in the winter? Find 2 ways. In order to find 2 ways, you had to use this text feature of a text box. First, the deep cold comes in to stay, and then it is dark 24 hours a day. In the winter time in the tundra, the sun never comes up. There is never sunlight in the winter. Use the photographs to state how spring is different from fall and winter using that text feature of photographs. Sorry guys, my hair is driving me crazy. It's very staticky. There we go. We can see that the snow and ice begin to melt because we're seeing the ground. We can see that flowers begin to bloom. And we can see over here that animals are born in these seasons. Slide 6 asks, what are 3 things that happen to the tundra in the summer months? The sun never sets, the sunshine melts the ice, and plants begin to grow. Again, these are example answers. You and your partners may have found more, and that is totally fine. Okay? William is telling me something I wrote, said 2 hours. Oh, good catch, William. In the tundra, it is dark for 24 hours a day, not 2. Thank you, William. Good catch, good catch. Okay. So again, you and your partner might have found some different information to focus on, but the main idea should have been the same. Any questions about anything that we learned on slides 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6? 11.
Can you go back to slide 3?
There
4.
you are. There you are. So guys, this is not a time to copy my answers and catch them. I'm just quickly going over the review for you. So questions only. I'm not going to stay on slides to have them be copied. Any questions on this one, Levin?
No.
All right. Terrence, a question.
I don't get slide 6.
Slide 6 says, what are 3 things that happen to the tundra in the summer? So we look for the text where it says during the summer, and then we're looking for things that happen. What takes place during the summer?
The sunrise melts the ice.
Yep, that's one thing, and it's asking you for 3, so you can write that, and then you'll find 2 more. Okay? All right. William, question.
Yes.
Your hand was raised. A question?
Never mind.
Gotcha. Christopher.
I don't get a part on slide 4.
Slide 4. What's your question?
It's because with the fourth sentence, I don't get like what it says.
This one here?
Mm-hmm.
So then in winter, deep cold sinks in to stay. Deep cold just means if you think about like a thermometer, the farther down you go, the colder it gets. So it's saying it gets pretty deep into the cold. It's a very, very, very long, very, very intense cold. That's what that phrase deep cold means.
Okay.
All right. Leah, did you have a question, sis?
On slide 6, you wrote the exact same 3 things as me.
Hey, all right. They're based on the text, so that's bound to happen. Great work. Okay, let's take a look at slide 7. This is with your teacher instructions. Slide 7 says, look at the graphs and discuss their meanings. Use the information to type answers to the questions about the data in the graphs on slide 8. Discuss the questions about the graphs on slide 9. So let's go to slide 8. It says we're going to look at this information. So that is the obtaining part. And we're going to combine it as we put it together in our answers. Okay. These are, again, real climate maps, or graphs, I apologize, climate graphs about an area in Alaska that is considered a tundra. And that area is called Dead Horse Prudhoe Bay, Alaska. This is information about the temperatures. This graph over to the right is information about the amount of snowfall that happens. Okay. It says use the graph to answer these questions. Let's take a moment to study our graphs. With the temperatures here, we can see that it is extremely cold. Look over here in January. A high of -8 degrees. That's as hot as it's going to get, -8. A low of -20 degrees. Okay, so that's going to be our lowest point. Then we come over here to our higher point in July. In July, the high is 56 degrees. So it's still pretty chilly. You need a jacket. And that is the hottest it gets all year, is 56 degrees. The low is 40 degrees, which is only 8 degrees away from freezing. Okay. So we can see that it is in fact true to a tundra climate, and it's pretty cold all year long. Even in the summer months, in June, it could still freeze water in June. Okay, our Junes in temperate climates were at the neighborhood pool. Okay, but in Alaska, water could still freeze. All right. Over here on our snowfall, we see that there's a little bit of snow even in June. So again, June, when we're sitting at the pool in Indiana, they're shoveling snow in Alaska. Now there's not a lot. You can see that in the whole month, there's only about 2 inches. This morning, we got 3 inches in a day. And as you guys know, 2 days ago, we got about 10 inches. So like it said, there's actually not a lot of snow that happens in the tundra, which is crazy to think about, but it's true. So in the whole month, they're only going to get about 2 inches. When we get into the fall months over here, that's where we start to see more snow. Okay, from October through December, we're going to see a little bit more snow in that area. So that's what we can understand just from looking at our maps. Now let's take a look at these questions. Which season has the coldest temperatures? Include evidence from the graph in your answer. Okay, we have our seasons guide over here, remember? So we can see what seasons are winter, spring, summer, and autumn. So let's take a look. I noticed that the coldest is over here in the -20s, and that's January and February and March. Most of that is in winter, January and February. So which season has the coldest temperatures? We're going to type our answer with information from the graph. So which season has the coldest temperatures? Winter has the coldest temperatures. And it says include evidence from the graph. So this is where we're going to put some of that data from the graph. Winter has the coldest temperatures because they are -20 degrees. We can't just say winter, okay? Most seasons are coldest in winter, so that's kind of a duh moment, all right? This is asking for evidence from the graph, and that evidence comes from when we use specific data directly from the text. Okay. Let's take a look at slide 2. Slide 2 says, compare temperatures in the spring and fall months. Include evidence from the graph in your answer. So I'm going to look for the spring. My spring is March, April, and May. So I'm going to go highlight March, April, and May in my spring color. Okay, March, April, and May. And the fall. The fall here is September, October, and November. So I'm going to look for September, October, November. And I'm going to compare those two temperatures. Okay, so we've taken a look at the spring and the fall months, all right? It says compare temperatures in the spring and fall, include evidence from the graph. So we're looking at the spring and the fall. I notice over here in the spring that in March it starts at -20 degrees and the hottest it gets is 28 degrees, okay? In November, it's the coldest at -7 degrees and it's the warmest at 48 or at 40 degrees. So it is easier for me to see that in the spring, it is colder than in the fall. That is opposite from us in temperate climates. In the fall time, we're wearing hoodies. In the springtime, we're busting out our shorts. Here, it's opposite, okay? They are having to wear their coats in the spring, but only their jackets in the fall. So in the tundra, that's opposite than it is for us. So we're going to type that down using data from the charts, from the graphs, okay? In the spring, it is colder than in the fall. In the spring, it is colder than in the fall. In the spring, I'm going to put some data here. In the spring, it goes from -20 to 28 degrees. In the fall, it goes from -7 to 40 degrees. I'll give you a moment to type those. Our final question says, if you were to visit this city in the winter, what would you pack and explain why? So I'm going to look at the winter. In the winter is December, January, and February. It is negative degrees the whole time. Negative lows, negative highs. The warmest it gets is -3. It was -3 degrees yesterday. So if you stepped outside yesterday, that is the hottest that it gets in the winter in the tundras. So very, very, very cold. Okay. So if I were to go visit this city in the winter, I would definitely need to make sure I packed some warm clothing items. So if I were to visit this city in the winter, I would need a coat and lots of layers, because it is in the negatives all the time. I would need a coat and lots of layers because it is in the negatives all the time. Uh-oh, there we go. Again, I used data from that graph to help me with my answer. So you can see how we're going to look at the data from the chart to write our answers. We're also not just going to assume that we know how the seasons are, because if we did that, we would have thought that it would have been warmer in the spring, because that's what we're used to in Indiana. But that's not the case in Alaska. So we're looking specifically at the data from the graphs to answer the questions. Leah, a question.
Also, but what if you fall? You'll get snow all over your pants, but if you snow pants, it won't get all over your pants. It's just good all over your snow pants.
That's true. I would probably write that down. Adding in some snow clothes. That's a great idea. Great idea. Okay. Let's take a look at what your independent work is for the day. And I'd like to let you know that I am going to be taking a grade on it. I forgot slide 9. Goofy, goofy, goofy me. Go ahead and go to slide 9 first before we talk about that independent work. Our directions told us to discuss these questions, so we do not have to write any answers down. We're just going to talk about them. It says, interesting question. According to this graph, why do you think it is warmest in May through July? So this graph right here is the hours of daylight and twilight. So how many hours of sunshine there is. The yellow is sunshine, okay? So in January, we only have this much sunshine right there in 24 hours. Look through May through July. The sun does not stop shining in May through July. That means when it's bedtime, you got to close the curtains because it's super sunshiny. When you want to take a nap, you got to close the curtains because it's sun shining. When you want to drive through the night, you need your sunglasses because it's sun shining, okay? The sun does not set May through July. Then it starts to go backwards. So look down here. In December, there is 0 sun. The sun does not rise in December in Alaska at all, period. No sun whatsoever. You need to drive with your headlights on all the time. At noon to go get lunch, you need your headlights, okay? No sun at all. Pretty crazy. William, a thought?
So that means kids could stay up all day, every day for 3 months.
So I actually had a cousin who lived in Alaska, and she said that there's 2 things that happen, right? The first thing is people get very, very, very depressed and sad in the winter months because there's no sun. So our bodies as humans actually need sunlight. We get vitamin D from sunlight, and vitamin D can help us with depression and keeping it away. So people who live in Alaska actually buy fake sunlight. So they make lamps, kind of like if you've ever heard of a tanning bed, that how it can tan and burn your skin. They make those lamps so people can turn them on in their house so they don't get depressed. And that way their body can get that vitamin D. So that happens. The second thing that happens is she says most people spend a lot of money on curtains that completely block out all of the sun. Because in the summer, like you said, kids stay up all day, every day. Well, no, because your body needs sleep or it dies. But a lot of people can't sleep when it's so bright. So they have to buy curtains that completely block out every single bit of light. And those are very expensive. So yeah, it is hard to keep a cycle and to keep a rhythm and to know like, oh, I'm tired. Oh, I need to wake up, because the sunlight doesn't give people that cue. Okay, so question, why do you think it's warmest in May through July? Look at what we know about the sun. Why is this the hottest season inside of the tundra? What do you guys think? Why is it so hot here? Christopher, what do you think, bud? Why is it so hot in May through July?
Because it's kind of already summer.
Yeah, it's got that sunlight for summer. The sun does not go down. At nighttime, you guys know it gets colder because our sun goes away. In Alaska, the sun doesn't go away. So there's not going to be a colder time of the day. It's just going to stay pretty consistent. Good. Let's go down here and look at this graph. This is the average monthly rainfall, okay? Now this graph only goes up to 2.5 inches. So even though this looks like a super tall hill, it's only 2 inches of rain. So it's about that much rain. Okay, 2 finger lengths there. It's about that much rain. So about as much as my pointer finger. Okay, that's how much rain they would get in a month. The question is, according to what you had learned, why do you think there is rain, not snow, from June through September? So why is this rain in the tundra and not snow? Thinking about what we learned about temperature, why is there rain and not snow in June through September? What do you think? William?
Maybe because the part of the world or something.
Yeah, in that part of the world, what are the temperatures like in that part of the world in June through August? Oh, you're muted. There you go.
It's 46 to 51
And
degrees.
is that cold enough to make snow?
Not really.
No. So it would have to be colder in June through July, and that's why we get rain in the tundra. So rain, where we usually think about polar bears and penguins and deer and caribou, rain there, not snow, because it does get warm enough to rain, even though it stays chilly. Okay. All right, now we're going to talk about your independent work. Let's take a look at slide 10. Your directions are the exact same as yesterday. Today, I am taking a grade on your work. Okay, so today I'm going to be grading your work. On slide 11, you're going to read the statements. You're going to sort the statements into their matching season. A hint for you is to go back and read the text or look at graphs if you are stuck. On slide 12, you're going to record yourself explaining how an Arctic climate seasons are similar and different from Indiana's temperate seasons. Okay, so I'm grading two things. I'm grading slide 11 if you put these statements in the correct season. And I am grading your explanations on slide 12. This is a speaking grade, so you have to record it. I am fine if you need to type what you say and then record yourself reading it. That's fine with me, but you do have to record your voice. This is a speaking grade, okay? So 2 things being graded today. Did you put the tiles in the right season? And did you record yourself explaining how Arctic climates are similar and different from Indiana's temperate climates?